We have decided. We have decided that if you act like that, you should be. We're probably on Facebook now. That you should be banned. All hail Zuckerberg. Hey, I think we made it. I think we're on Facebook. Look at that. All right, let's record this bad boy. Oh,
all right.
All right. Well, you know what? It's Wednesday, and that must mean it's Whiskey Wednesday.
It is.
We have a very small but very feisty crowd tonight. They're all thirsty crowd.
Yep.
Feisty and thirsty. And well, that's good because I got Forbes here. Forbes is McMullan is here. He's the VP of sales for Corry Irish Whiskey. And yeah, you can clap for him. That's okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see how his whiskey is later. You can also boo him later if it's not good. So, all right. So we're gonna taste some great. We're gonna taste some great whiskey tonight. We've been actually selling Corry, I think, since it first started into the U.S. market.
Yes, it's been here for. I think I was talking to Keith. It's been here for a couple of years, but we just relaunched it with Blue Ridge, who's our importer at the beginning of the year, probably back in March. So it's really just getting going in the U.S. this year.
That's great.
Yep.
I'm very excited to have it. We love the product. We love the fact. So we just watched a little film before we came on about the ladies in Ireland who resurrected the Corry line, and they are a bonder.
Yes,
that's not how it's
correct. Correct. So that was how it was done back in the sort of the late 1800s, early 1900s. With Irish whiskey was that the distilleries would actually only distill, and then the bonders would basically do everything else that the distilleries in other countries now do as well. So the bonders would actually go out and procure the bottles or the barrels from all over the world, and then they would go in and fill up with the spirit, and they would do all of the barreling, all of the aging, and all of the branding, and all the bottling and all the selling. So it was really up to the bonders to do everything. But then right around the time of the early 20th century when the World Wars broke out and the Irish Civil War, that everything was just sort of wiped out with not just in Ireland, but all the Scotch distilleries went a lot of those went dark. So it was sort of a dark time for whiskey overall around the world. And then Louise, who obviously was just on the video, the founder, she grew up on this farm in Western Ireland, County Clare, which those of you familiar with geography, it's where the Cliffs of Moher is. So it's a really famous, well-known part of Ireland, kind of a little bit south of Galway, and so she had a family dairy farm that she grew up on. And then after college, she went all around the world working for some of the big companies like Diageo, Pernod Ricard, Moet Hennessy, and I guess realized that Irish whiskey was going to be making a major comeback. So around 2015, she decided that she wanted to sort of get back to Ireland and use the family farm as sort of a staging ground to do the bonding. So that's what she did, and she was the first person to bring the whole bonding profession back to Ireland. I think she's the first female-owned woman-owned Irish whiskey. So she's really been making some huge leaps and bounds in the industry, and obviously being featured on the Today Show is huge. It's huge. Yeah.
I mean, so here in the United States, that would be called a rectifier.
Right.
And so we have a different word for it. But I think a lot of people, in Scotland and in Ireland and even in the U.S., don't realize a lot of the importance of bonders, rectifiers, or really, to be honest with you, grocers.
Right.
That would put together they would buy the barrels and put together blends.
Right.
I mean, anything that's basically, if it's like in Scotland, if it's not named if it's not named after a geographical point, like a glen or so forth,
right.
Anything with a name like Justin and Brooks, J&B, Scotch, or Dewars, or all these other things, were actually mercantiles,
right?
And they would actually put together these blends to sell, and that's really where sort of without them, Scotch would have had a lot harder time,
definitely,
getting to the general public,
right?
So I mean,
Definitely.
it plays a key role in the evolution of whiskey, period,
Right.
and just civilization in general. And not many people, I think, realize that.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and how many people actually are involved with that really they didn't do any whiskeys. They didn't distill anything.
Right.
And we look at that right now. We're looking at like non distillery producers, and we're looking at all these different things, and sometimes they get sort of a bad rap, and they're like, well, you don't really produce. I go, doesn't stop creativity.
Not at all. Not at all. Right.
Matter of fact, I don't think they're burdened to have to make, the distilleries are there to make the same thing the same way every single time.
Right.
And they're free to buy from different people and sort of put these things together
Right.
and make something really special.
And that was one of the things I think, I remember Louise mentioning that, when she first sort of came up with the idea, I think there was only 2 distilleries that were producing at the time. And now I think there's close to 45. So it's really exploded with the number of distilleries in the last 10 or 15 years.
Absolutely.
So,
and, there's finally some U.S. Like basically like bonders that are actually doing stuff here. Independent bottlers, really. That's the whole thing about independent bottlers too. So we're starting to see more of that in the United States too, which is great too.
Yep.
All right. Well, enough of a history lesson. Let's talk about whiskey.
Yes.
So what do we have today? And what's our first whiskey today?
We are
number 1.
Well, first of all, I want to just talk about a little bit about J.J. Corry and the name. So he was sort of the local bonder back in the back during those that period, late 1800s, early 1900s for County Clare. So he was, in addition to being a bonder, he was also an inventor. So this first one we're going to do is called the Hansen, and from what I've heard, it's named after Andrew Hansen, who was the tax man at the time for County Clare. So he was in charge of making sure that JJ was paying his taxes, and also a pretty big whiskey aficionado. So they became friends, and JJ would often sort of share some of his concoctions with Andrew before they released, and they created sort of a bond, no pun intended, but they became friends, and to the extent that Andrew ended up marrying JJ's daughter. So the first one, is named after him. So this Hansen is actually,
instead of fighting the revenuer.
Exactly. How about that?
He gave him whiskey.
Yes. And then
that's
his daughter,
a novel approach.
then his daughter's hand. So that was a good way to, to make sure that.
Do you think that he paid all his taxes?
I don't know. But it was certainly a very interesting story that, there's all these brands, all these names have a story behind them. So it makes it really, really interesting. But this first one we're going to do, the Hansen, is it's a blend of grain whiskeys. So we're gonna taste this one first. There's a lot of sort of fruitiness into it, which you'll be able to enjoy.
In there, a little lemon.
Yep.
Really nice.
So anywhere from about 8 to about 15-year-old different blends. This is mainly coming from a couple of the big well-known distilleries, both Cooley and Great Northern. I think Louise mentioned she's sourcing from about 15 or 16 of the different distilleries for everything, but for the core, in order to keep them more consistent, she really keeps it coming from the same couple distilleries. So probably everyone's familiar with Cooley and Great Northern. Those are a couple of the two big ones.
I mean, if you're going to create a core lineup, you sort of have to do that. Because absolutely. Her whole, basically her gig is the blend, the art of the blend, and coming out with these one-offs,
right?
Specialty things. So if you're going to do that, you have to have a way of always making something that tastes similar, with very little drift,
right? And they spend a lot of time, blending it when they do this once a year and putting it all together and making sure that they are maintaining that consistency and the same flavor profiles, and they're selecting them from the same flavor blocks coming from the different rack house sections. I think there's 14 different flavor blocks, so they just make sure with these core that they're keeping things very very similar from previous releases.
And the other part of that too is it's grain whiskey.
Yep.
So grain whiskey gets this really weird rap, right? Because everybody's like, oh, grain whiskey, that's like filler.
Right.
That's what they use to to make other whiskeys, and then they throw single malts and stuff like that on top of it.
Right.
But grain whiskeys on their own, by the way, depending on what grain they use and stuff like that, and the aging process used on grain whiskey, are beautiful on their own. And most of the time, what people have not really tasted grain whiskeys that have had age on them.
Right.
And that's the problem. You know, if you're trying a 2 or 3 year old grain whiskey, maybe not so much to
Right.
write home about, but they pick up barrel, they pick up finishing really, really well. And you start getting into some older grain whiskeys. I think this is, you said 8 to 15.
Yep. 8 to 15.
8 to 15.
Yep.
You really can sort of, you really taste it.
Definitely. And like, I think this seems to be, very often basically similar to like a key lime pie. So it's got that fruitiness to it.
Yeah.
It's finished in bourbon barrels coming from Tennessee and Kentucky. So you'll definitely be able to pick up some of those the bourbon hints on it as well.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some good vanillas in there. There's definitely I get some little bit of biscuity on that too. I get definite citrus on that too.
Right.
What do you guys think? Do you like this? Yeah, it's really quite pleasant.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
So so this release is coming from 3 different ex-bourbon casks: 2010, 2011, and 2016. So that's what we're having right now. This is at the retails around $49.99.
Yeah, it's under $50.
Yep.
I mean, so definitely affordable. I think that's great.
Yeah,
I think it's really nice.
It's definitely. What do you guys all? Yeah, perfect.
All right. I like that one.
Yeah. Well, this next one we're going to do is called the Gale. So this is actually the sort of the flagship brand. This is as I mentioned, JJ, besides being a bonder, was also an entrepreneur. He was an inventor. This is actually a bicycle that he invented, so named after that. This is actually a blend of both grain and some single malts. It's anywhere from 8 up to 30 years old. This is also going to have a sherry finish because it's finished in both Oloroso and PX sherry. So you'll definitely be able to pick up some of the sherry notes on this one.
Okay.
And this is like a big.
This is something we can get this all the time.
Yes.
This is all the time.
Both of these, both of these are available, part of the core. The Flintlock, which we'll be doing next, is just arrived, so that's also going to be part of the core as well.
Okay.
So these three are all going to be, these first three are all going to be readily available year round.
Okay. Are they marrying them in a cask after they put the blend together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I see what they're doing.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep.
You sort of have to. I mean, otherwise they're going to be disjointed.
Right. Yeah. So this is sort of a
Is she doing these like once or twice a year?
Yeah, a few times a year. Yep. She's been real busy the last few weeks doing all the blending. So
I like that one a lot.
Getting ready for the holidays. I mean, we're obviously coming into our very busy season with Irish whiskey going into the holidays, but then we're able to turn the corner into the beginning of the year and all the way through St. Patrick's Day. So we have a very, very busy next few months with Irish whiskey.
Yeah, I really like this one.
Yeah.
I mean, this is definitely in my wheelhouse. You're getting the cherry notes are like popping on this.
Yes.
You get some really some deeper flavors going on in this.
Yep.
Wow, really, really nice. And this one, again, this is, around under $70.
Right around there. Yep. Big fruit bomb.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's definitely some big fruit bomb on this one.
Hey, what do you guys think of this? Nice.
What do you guys think of this one? What'd you say? You're in love?
It's really tough not to. I mean, this one is really, really special. So it's, like I said, this is the first one, and this was what kind of put the name on the map. So
the Gale, is that what it is?
The Gale. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So ever expanding and doing it, the notion was to have a three expression,
right,
like core lineup.
Yes. And this Flintlock is the next one we're going to do. We just had this batch.
This is not available yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
You guys are like some of the first people that are going to try this.
Yep.
This is definitely not available yet. When are we looking at?
Well, I mean, it just cleared customs.
Okay.
So it's in the
sooner
US.
than later.
Yes. So it has arrived into the US. So it is here. It's just a matter of getting the distributor to get the order in, getting it shipped.
Now, what do you bring in? Are you bringing in Jersey? Or
yes.
Are you bringing?
Yeah. It all comes in through Jersey.
Through Jersey.
Yep.
Okay.
And luckily we averted the the potential port strike that everybody was
Well,
very
that has
nervous
only
about.
been, everybody's like, we're not going to do it. Yeah, it's
Yep.
great. That has only been postponed.
Right, it's been postponed.
I'm
Yep.
hoping
Yep.
that in the postponing part of this, they are getting together and working out
I do
the
too.
final deal, because I think it's like January, I want to say 15th
Yeah, I think it
is the
yeah,
deadline.
yeah.
And trust me, you don't want like about 45% of the imported goods coming into the United States and about 45% of the goods going out of the United States
No.
to stop.
Right.
Not good. Not good at all.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So this flintlock, it's actually named after the flintlock gun, which was as Louise showed in the video with the Rick House, old farmhouse that was I guess sort of a safe haven for the rebels during the war, when they were sort of renovating it, and banging into the ceiling, it popped out of between some rafters up there, the gun. So that was
really?
a story with this, because obviously guns, not too many guns in Ireland anymore. So that was so it's one of the safest cities I was read today in the world. So I mean, it was very rare to at least these days to have any guns. But this was what this came after. This is a 21-year-old finished in Fino sherry cask.
Okay.
And is
Get that drier.
Yes. Yep.
That drier finish.
Yes.
Still has that sort of fruitiness and a little bit of red fruit in there.
Definitely.
But definitely drier.
Yes, much drier. And as Louise mentioned, just won best small batch whiskey at the spirits competition. So that was a big big award for something.
That's really good.
Yeah. So again, with only 1,200 bottles of this are available. So it's not going to be. I mean, it's going to be available year round. But once it's gone, then we're going to have to wait till next year's.
Oh, really? So it's a core lineup, but it's a limited core
right.
lineup.
Yep. Yep.
So again, so she's just going to make one batch of this per year,
Yep.
however many bottles that sort of mix into
right.
it. Okay.
So next year, hopefully there'll be more available, assuming this sells through. Which
how much of what Louise is making? How much of that is making it to the U.S.?
Well,
is it primarily a Irish brand, or is it primarily made for export?
Both. It's doing a lot domestically in Ireland, and then it's also doing a lot internationally as well.
How many states are they in here? How many states are you guys in?
I would say we're in about 15 so far. We're going to be kicking off a bunch of new markets at the beginning of the year. So we're right now we're in most of the main open states. We've gotten into a few of the controlled states. So we're really doing well in Ohio.
Let me ask you a question. Do you sort of look at where do you look at what whiskey sells where, or do you look at Irish population? Like where do you decide to go next?
It's sort of a combination of the two, and also there's so much with it also has to do with who our distributor partner is.
Mm-hmm.
So in some of these markets, if we're going to go with the distributor that per se doesn't have any other Irish whiskeys in their book, then we might consider moving into sort of a smaller secondary, even tertiary market, just because we know we're going to get the focus from the distributor.
That's a part, deciding where you're going to be.
Yes.
For that, you can end up in a big house and everybody goes, oh, they get a whole bunch of salespeople, they get a whole bunch of, but some of the big boys call the shots, and then you're sitting out there in the cold.
Yes. There's been a big, a lot of changes with that have been a result of the distributor consolidation in the U.S. and there've been some big stories even about it this week. So I mean, it's becoming it's becoming with all the new brands coming out all the time and distributor consolidation, it's tougher to get that sort of share of mind from the distributor. So going to a smaller distributor sometimes that has that where you're going to kind of be the only.
Yeah, I also look at it. You're going to do the work anyway, so I'd rather if I'm going to do the work to sort of get my brand out, it's almost better to work with somebody smaller. You already know going in that you're going to have to do the work rather than listening that they're going to do all the stuff for you, and then you go back and they did nothing, and you're still doing the work.
Right.
So I'd rather go in eyes wide open and go like, okay, I know what I'm going to have to do to make this brand.
Right. So so to answer your question, getting back to that, I mean, so it really kind of just depends on a case by case basis when we look at different states where we feel like we can have the most impact. But certainly we want to be going into markets where we know that there's a big Irish whiskey consumer base as well. Yeah.
What do you guys think? The flintlock, is it flintlock or flint?
The flintlock.
Flintlock. All right.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
lock and key, so that's what it is. I like that. So
Yes. So
anybody a question? Yes, Lisa.
Yes, yes.
So the three women we saw on in the
Yes.
video, Louise and I don't know
Caroline.
Caroline.
Yeah, and I don't know who the third. I just started a few months ago. I haven't been over to the farm yet, so I'm looking forward to getting over there myself. But Caroline and Louise was the one that was doing most of the speaking. She's the founder, and then Caroline is also very involved. But
Louise is also known as a very good blender.
Yes, yes. So she is very involved with she in charge of the blending. So they just finished a pretty intense blending session, earlier this month. Of the last few weeks, that's what they've been doing. So, so they're all very involved with that, hands-on. And then actually, they even, once they're done with that, they even showed them actually loading up the container. It's a small, very small company, and everybody is very involved with every step along the way. So it's really interesting being a part of this and fun.
I like those. Those are going to be pretty. That's a pretty good core 3 lineup.
Yeah, it's a great core portfolio for sure.
Yeah, a lot of delicate flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I mean, her skill shows through on this too. I think that's what you're getting to. So, Fino.
I mean, it's finished in the Fino.
It's finished.
Yeah,
everything
finished
once it's blended, it's thrown in a Fino barrel and finished there.
Yep.
And you can tell the dryness and stuff like that that's coming out of it. It's really good though. Yep. I like it a lot. All right, so we got 2 that you can get now. We got a third one on the way that's going to be part of the core. And Forbes says, okay, I just don't want to do 3 whiskeys. I'm going to bring some other stuff in for you guys to try. Now, none of these aren't available. Right?
Not in Massachusetts, no.
No. Are they going to be available in Massachusetts?
What we do is we do what's called a Bonders Edition. So this is something that we do specifically for specific accounts or customers that that want to kind of create their own. It's kind of similar to a single barrel program, but we can also take different single barrels and create a signature blend. So that's why it's really sort of unique, where it's not just, coming in with 5 different barrel samples. You can take these 5 different barrel samples and, and do a certain percentage of 3 of them and create something completely.
What's the gallonage when you start blending that you'd have to do?
The minimum that we do is 22 6-packs, so 132 bottles, which is about half a cask. Because sometimes, sometimes
you're using bigger casks.
Yes, because sometimes, a full cask might be too much for certain customer. And if they want to do more, then we can. But 132 bottles is the minimum, and so that's something that we're really going to be doing a bunch of moving forward next year. So that's something that we're excited about. We're going to be doing 2 different types, two different ways, because when we do it that way with the blend, it takes about 6 months from the time that the actual blend is selected by the customer until it arrives. It just takes time to put it together.
It's coming from Ireland. You got to put everything in. You can put it all together.
And big delay, it takes some time getting these things approved by the Irish Board of Agriculture. So there's just a lot of time involved in getting it overseas now. So that's one thing. And then if we have customers that do want are going to want something a little bit more quicker turnaround time, then we're going to be having samples available brought over here that once they pick which one they want, then we can have it bottled to their specific specifications. Then and that'll really cut down.
So what are you going to do? You can basically make some blends up, and they can choose from the blends,
right? And have it have it bottled over here or shipped over, so it's already bottled, and then we just have to put the labels on, and then we can ship it out and turn it around much quicker. Because sometimes a lot of times when people pick these out, they want it quickly. They don't want to have to wait 6 months. So this gives them the opportunity if just another option.
Just so you guys know, and that's something that you can do. I mean, I actually am doing 2 barrels right now for a club.
Yes, right.
For a club that's they actually picked out 2 different blends that they did.
Right.
And they're on their way over.
Yeah, those will be before Christmas.
Before Christmas. And we help facilitate that.
Yes.
So with Forbes and Keith's over there and our partners there, and put that together for them and help them get it. And so it's a club. So I bring everything in, and it's all going out. They've bought everything. So
Exactly.
if you ever feel like the knack to own 26 cases, we can certainly help you out. I'll
Yes.
probably be doing some blending myself, and we'll probably be doing some stuff in the next year or so.
Right.
But just FYI, if you had a group of people together and you wanted to do something on your own, actually, if you wanted to take a trip to Ireland too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can go over there.
Yes.
And do it.
We have
Do it yourself.
It's all set up for customers to come over and do the selecting right there on site on the farm.
Yeah.
So this next one we're going to do is like I said, it's a Bonders edition. It's called the Solera. It's an 8-year-old.
This is number 4,
yes,
guys.
Yep. It's a blend of both malt and pot still. Finished in 3 different types of sherry with Fino, PX, and Palo Cortado. So this is a little, something unique. Again, this is just sort of a one-off. I mean, only 132. Actually, for this one, we did 180 bottles, but that's all there is. And then once it's gone, it's gone.
Wow.
So this is something also really, really unique. And
this is really cool.
And that's why we just wanted to make sure that you were getting to experience the Bonders, because these are really unique.
Well, I think it's also to understand also that there's, what they're doing. There's some depth to what they're doing. This isn't just, slamming Irish whiskey. This is This is this is some serious stuff, and they do some stuff that's a little bit deeper and a little bit richer. Also.
Absolutely. What do you guys think of this? Yeah. Yeah.
That's really good, huh? Green apple. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it is drier. But what I'm finding though, because number 3, the Flintlock has that dryness.
Yeah.
This has got that dryness, but also some richer notes at the end too. It's the finish is longer on this too, which is really nice, and it's got some it's got some green apple, but it's also it also sort of morphs into some almost like tropical notes. On this too.
Yep.
That I get. Really good. Dry sherry. Yeah. Well, you got 3 different types of sherry.
Right.
And the Palo Cortado, that is, I mean, some of you might be familiar with that. Not a lot of people use that sherry. Does everybody remember the Glenmorangie, the green label?
Yep.
That used that sherry? So if you've had that one, that may kindle some memories.
Right.
Because not a lot of people use that one, which I think is really neat. And I like that one too. That was one I really like that one too.
Yeah.
What's the ABV on this one?
46. 46. So all these I think are all 46 non-chill filtered. So I think that's pretty much standard for at least a minimum.
So they're not. Yep. They're okay. I guess we should have said this from the beginning, because they're doing it. No color added.
Right.
No chill filtration at all on these. So what you're getting is that.
Right.
Now, if you did your own blend, then could you have it at blended strength? So whatever it turns out to be from the barrels, or do you guys sort of bring down the barrels that they're blending from to I mean,
46? Everything I've seen so far has been 46.
Yeah,
but
just curious.
Yeah, but I would think if there was
because if you're doing a blend, I want to almost look at some.
Yeah.
I don't know if I do. I do like 46, but and I don't know if I do cast strength.
Right.
Depending on what the blend you did, it might fall somewhere in between, like 100 proof or something like that, like 50 or something like that,
possible,
where it would be, wherever it sort of fit right. It should always be about where the whiskey tastes the best.
Definitely.
So everybody always goes, oh, well, that's cast strength. Well, yeah, not really. Most of my cast strength, I think, over the years, we've talked about different cast strengths, and some, we can get to hazmat, which is 70% and all that stuff. You need to bring that down. You need to bring that down to somewhere where it's not anesthetizing your mouth.
Right. And
I always say, well, if you're getting stuff that's really high, just think of it as whiskey concentrate and bring that down with water to somewhere in where it tastes the best. Wherever it tastes the best is how much water you should add.
Right.
If it is none, then it is none. But just be aware, when you get up to 120 and above, you're going to anesthetize your mouth. You're not tasting. You're not tasting everything.
Right.
Sorry, just it's you have a half a glass, and you've anesthetized your mouth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't care who you are.
Yeah. No, it's true. Absolutely.
So.
Yep.
Yep. You enjoy high cast strength? Right. But you can, right. That's what's great about cast strength. You can play with it yourself. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I had a gentleman one time that was telling me he never adds water to his whiskey. And I said, "What are you drinking?" He's drinking, I'm drinking a Macallan. I go, you know that they added water to that. He's like, "What?" I go, "Well, it started out a lot higher than what you're drinking it at. And in order to get it at
Yeah.
the proof you're drinking, they added water. So you can add it or somebody else can add it.
Right.
But typically it's somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
no, that's normally comes out, I think, 86
I always
proof,
tell
right?
people is like,
Yeah.
do whatever you want. It's your
Right.
whiskey,
Yeah.
you know, so you can add water, not add water, and everybody gets in big arguments. Like
Right.
that. The only rule is do not add tap water.
Right. Yeah.
If you add some good water in that, please. Don't fool around with, Worcester water or something like that. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Nothing against Worcester, but I used to wrestle in Worcester, and there was actually little things living in the water that we used to say was little protein, little protein.
Yeah.
When we were wrestling, we said, "There's our protein for the day. We just drink the water here in Worcester." So
that's
really good.
That's one of the ingredients they filter out when they do the chill
Yeah,
filtration.
exactly,
It's the proteins and the
That's right.
esters and the fatty acids
That's right.
that they're all filtering out when they do that.
That's
So,
right.
Yep.
All right. We have number 5 here.
Number 5. Yes. So this is a 10-year. This is called the Arena. So this is also finished in a sherry muscatel, and then also in a rum cask from the West Indies. So you might be able to pick up a little rum.
I just got like a little minty. You guys
Yeah.
got like a little minty on that? What? Say that again. A banana? What type of? A sweeter?
Yeah.
Is that the small ones? The small bananas?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yep. Okay.
Okay. I almost get like, you know what that is, by the way, in case you're really trying to think about it. That's called circus peanut. Circus peanut. Now watch this. Now smell it and tell me you don't smell circus peanut. I know I did. I like to ruin everything.
Yeah.
It's not candy corn, thank God. I put up my meme today about candy corn. Candy corn's only for Halloween. Circus peanuts are eternal.
That's right.
Candy corn is for candles. As that's the same people like to chew crayons. The raccoons like candy corn? Really? I don't want to see if they eat too many of those things. They must be going. I don't think that's not good. That seems like torture for a raccoon. Don't give my raccoons those.
Yeah.
Candy corn. Are you trying to kill them? Once a year. See? This is one of those type of things. No one wants to eat the candy corn, so they give it to the raccoons. That's not good.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't torture those poor animals. Yeah, they're coming after candy corn. I'll candy corn you. This smells great.
Yeah, it's can really pick up, I think, that rum.
Yeah, you get a long finish on that. You get it's a different finish too. I was expecting it to be. It still finishes sort of dry with the rum. I was almost expecting it like a sweeter finish, and it really doesn't do that. But you get the essence of the rum in there, which I like.
Right.
That's really nice. I am not a big. I don't know why. There's certain ones I like, but I am not a big whiskey and rum barrel guy. I don't know what it is because I think I've had it done so poorly so many times that I'm shocked when somebody actually does it really well. Because the rule is not done. As a rule, it's not usually done very well. So I love it when somebody actually does it well. Right. Dave Stewart at Balvenie does a fantastic job with that. But I don't like some of the other ones that I've had. This one I like.
Yeah. This one definitely be hit or miss.
Yeah. You know why? Because it's not overboard. It's balanced.
Right.
And I think that's important. Wild Turkey Tribute did it. And that's one of the few that I've seen done with bourbon. Because that can be even trickier. Bourbon is a little bit sweeter. What's that? Benriach Smoky 10 is done in rum? Really? All right. I haven't. I'm going to have to try that one again because I don't think I remember that one. All right, it's going to bring me some. By the way, we have a huge whiskey festival on Saturday, but John's going to bring me some whiskey. Thank you, John.
That's right.
So we'll get into that. Make sure you guys all know about all the great stuff that's coming on here. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
How many bottles of this did this?
This was also 180. Both of these ended up being 180, so a little bit above the minimum. So
okay, where are these? Are they in select markets?
New Hampshire.
Here?
Those are New Hampshire. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So the New Hampshire liquor.
Why do you give New Hampshire anything good? They don't know what they're doing.
I guess they came over to Ireland and into the farm and tasted through some of these a few months back.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Like it. How long was this in rum?
I think
but it's only a component, right?
Yeah. It's just a few months. Well, like I said, these Bonders editions, they just go, they're all, pre-purchased through a single customer, and then they come in and out. So that once they they come in, and then they're gone. They're all one off.
So
one off.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and that's part of by the way, that's part of the Bonder's job.
Right. Yep.
Is a lot of one off. It's actually not as common to have a core lineup.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's a little bit different. What she's doing is a little bit different. I mean, most people are just that are doing any type of rectifying, bonding, stuff like that. They're not actually creating a core lineup. They're just creating all one-offs.
Right. Well, because it can be, it's tough to maintain that consistency.
Right. No, you have to have you have to actually, if you have a blend, you actually have to have source whiskey.
Right.
And consistently in order to do that.
Right. So the cores are just coming from a couple, 2 or 3 different distilleries, whereby the Bonders are coming from a much bigger pool of the different distilleries out there. So, not all the distilleries will sell to Bonders. So, like I mentioned, there's about 45 now. So it's really, it's really the number of distilleries has really increased dramatically in the last few,
Yeah, but you also use somebody
years,
that's willing to sell off distillate too.
Yep,
so
exactly.
that doesn't always happen.
Right.
All right. Well, Forbes, thank you so much for coming and showing us these today.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Do we have any clear winners? Any favorites? Or
oh, you do?
What?
Yes. He just said yes. That's it.
Yep.
All of them.
What
means all of them?
All of them?
All of them? Okay.
Okay.
The Slayer, the last two, the Slayer in the arena?
Yep.
I sort of like the Flintlock. You like the Flintlock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Flintlock is really good.
Yep.
But I'm going to tell you right now that the number one, the Hansen, you could definitely have some fun with that whiskey, because it tastes great on its own, but there's a couple different things. I'd make a nice highball with that, or a ginger.
You can make some. We have some great recipes for.
Yeah, that would actually do very
Yep.
very well,
Yep.
and it's got some great flavors that would go fantastic in a drink.
Yes,
too.
yeah.
So I can definitely see that.
Yep.
Now you guys are showing these this Saturday at the Whiskey Roadshow, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're going to be here this Saturday also. If you missed tonight and you're watching us on Facebook, this weekend is the Whiskey Roadshow at Julio's. Go to juliosliquors.com, go to the events page. It's $50 to go. We have 50 tables. Each one of those has about 5 whiskeys.
Wow.
So figure it out. $50, you get $30 back in a gift card. You get a commemorative glass, and Fireflies is doing sliders for the night.
Fantastic.
Street food. Yep. It's the road show. We're not doing any
Right.
roadkill or anything like that, so don't worry about that. All right, so we're going to have that this weekend, November 2nd. So look for that. There's also a couple other things over there. Thank you again for coming tonight. Thank you all for doing.
Thank you again. Thank you, everybody.
I'll go through a couple things, so don't you go anywhere.
All right.
We'll say goodbye to all the people on Facebook. It was awesome. You really should have been here. If you need to see this again, go wherever you get your podcasts and look for It's the Liquor Talking. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.